Did you know that if your tongue is too pink or too red, it can tell you a lot about what's going on inside of your body? And did you know that there's an ancient beauty secret that is better than Botox or fillers?
Tongue coating is very indicative of what's happening inside of your body, especially our digestion. A perfect tongue is a thin white coat with a pink tongue. We eat things, we have emotional imbalances, but it does affect how our internal environment is. So if you look in the mirror, stick your tongue out, and your coating is a little bit thicker and white, it means that there's dampness in you.
Felisa studied in traditional Chinese medicine at Emperor's College and is board certified in acupuncture and herbal medicine. And she continued exploring her curiosity in medicine by studying neuroscience in Bowdoin College, where she dove into the intricacies of mind-body medicine to treat symptoms and their root problem. And her aim is to help patients just live happier and healthier lifestyles. Pressing. Everyone loves cold tubs.
Yep.
Everyone's jumping into cold tubs. Cold tub stock is out of the roof. But in the context of Chinese medicine, maybe cold tubs aren't necessarily good for you or a certain group of people. In your opinion, how do you approach cold tubs with patients?
It's interesting because Chinese medicine looks at patients as an individual. Everyone has a different baseline and constitution. Nowadays, I find that a lot of people don't necessarily need it. It's interesting because there's the Western side of it, where there's a lot of research that says it's great for mental health. However, when we think about it on the long run, there's not a lot of research that does longitudinal studies over many years, and people start to do it, as a consistent habit, and it could be more detrimental. And in Chinese medicine, heat is our friend. When we have heat, when we're in a sauna, for example, which I always recommend over a cold tub, you have movement of qi, you have movement of blood. And with the movement, you don't have any stagnations. And stagnations are what are the premise of pathologies and issues that happen in the body. If I have a patient who's just like, I tried cold plunging or cold tubs or even cryotherapy and it made me feel so good. I'm like, yeah, it made you feel so good immediately, but how did you feel hours after? And some patients be like, oh, I was cold all day. I'm like, okay. Then that is the real concern there, because I don't want a patient feeling cold for the rest of the day, because when there's cold, there's stagnation and your yang is so depleted. When your yang is depleted, that's where a lot of your bodily functions start to slow down. Your metabolism could slow down from a Western perspective. Your energy could be depleted as well. We just want things moving.
So in the Chinese medicine perspective, getting into cold is going to affect your yang, metabolism, heat, energy,
Yes.
and cold tubs are making you more stagnant?
Absolutely. It's almost, when you think about a glass of water and an ice cube in there, with cold, it stagnates. And so that's what's happening in our body. There's certain parts of our body, if you can visualize, like our blood inside our body, our digestion, our muscles, everything is just stagnant. When there's stagnation, there's no flow, like our chi can't move. And we need to be moving all the time.
Okay. This is really, because this is not a one size fits all. And that's how we do it in the West.
Exactly.
We go, look, there's this trend and everyone should do it, and go buy yourself this or jump into this or get a subscription to this therapeutic place and jump in the cold all the time.
Of course.
And I love the nuance of it, because I know, and we were talking off air, how important it is for me not to be in cold. And I have a really good friend. He was on this show. It's a meditation expert, this guy, Jesse. And he has the same exact constitution. So we'll be on the beach in like May, we'll say. Everyone's bikini shorts and we have hoodies on and shorts on.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Yes.
And we would see the same Chinese medicine doctor years ago. So we knew that it was just like constitutional guys there. But the truth is, it's like some people, we're not just averse to cold. Our internal constitution is more averse to it. Can you talk about what are the different constitutions we have according to Chinese medicine and how they affect us?
Of course. When we think about constitution, it really comes from when we're born. We say it's like our kidney jing or kidney essence. Part of it is given from our parents. So what we have is what we have. It's our genetics, essentially. But another portion of it can be built throughout our lifetime. How we eat, how we live our lifestyle, our environment around us, and that all changes. The simplest way to break down constitution is the yin and the yang aspect of it, right? Someone that is more yin, more fluid-based, more damp, or the yang, someone is too hot. But in general, you always have a mixture of something because bodies are complex. One of the biggest constitutions I do see is almost some type of dampness in someone's body. Even if you're thin and you don't necessarily see the dampness from the outside, your external body can be very damp. And what causes dampness is very much tied to what you eat. You know, when we think about damp foods, it's almost foods like dairy, gluten, heavy, greasy foods, but also salads and cold things, cold fruit in the morning. It also depends when you put it in your body, because it all creates this stagnation and this heaviness in your body. And the symptoms we feel when we have dampness in us, it could be some type of fluid imbalance. It could be, you know, phlegm, coughing with phlegm, could be even feeling lethargic, feeling heavy, could be brain fog. All of those are symptoms of damp, and it happens to a lot of us at different parts of our life.
Okay, so now you just mentioned salads.
Yes.
And again, Western, hey, eat this. This is the best thing for you. Are you saying that according to Chinese medicine, eating a salad every day isn't the healthiest thing?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's something that I've had to change myself too, ever since diving into this medicine, because living in the Western world, you get thrown into getting the correct nutrients, the correct macros, the best type of protein. And to be honest, the easiest way is to throw in all these veggies in a salad and eat it. But we need it cooked because we're warm-blooded animals and our digestion is warm. So if you're putting something cold in your body, whether it's a salad, whether it's cold water, whether it's a smoothie, it's going to slow your digestive qi, or digestive enzymes essentially, right? And so when you're doing that over an accumulative amount of time, your digestion gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And so it's almost working on overdrive to warm the food before it can actually absorb the nutrients. And when we think about our digestion, we associate it with our spleen qi. Our spleen qi is our digestive function, our power. And the main function of it is to transport and transform foods and fluids. And so when it gets weaker and weaker, it can't do that. And that's when you start to see stagnations, when you start to see accumulation of fluids, where some people wake up, they're like, oh, I'm phlegmy, I have to spit all the time. I don't know why. Or I have brain fog when I wake up. It's because the spleen is weak, the spleen qi, aka our digestive function.
Why is, and I keep hearing this always when I hear Chinese medicine, why is a spleen so important for so many people? I see you smiling because you're like, yeah, I mean, like, we have in medical school, we learn about so many other organs, and spleen is a organ, but it's not like the organ.
Of course.
What's going on with the spleen being so important for our overall health?
It's interesting because I think the spleen, or at least the organ system, it's about a balance of digestion. The spleen, technically in Chinese medicine, isn't exactly our spleen in Western. It's almost kind of our way of digestion, including the pancreas. And I see a lot of spleen issues, whether it's a spleen qi deficiency that causes dampness, which is so common in a lot of us because we live in this modern world where we're always so fast-paced. The emotion to spleen is worry and overthinking, and almost to like our intellect. And a lot of us nowadays, we're always thinking about the next step. And because of that, our spleen function gets weaker. And let's say someone is, you know, pursuing their dream job, but they're working tirelessly. They're doing a lot of things for their job and they're exerting energy out, but they aren't doing anything to return to themselves. Their spleen qi gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And so over time, you get the spleen qi deficiency signs, which is fatigue, weight gain, bloating, everything to do with digestion, but also brain fog, gut issues. It's everything to do with the gut and the mind.
So spleen deficiency is really coming from an emotional piece and eating foods
Correct.
that are sort of like cold and your body's gonna have to warm up anyway.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the side of emotions and your organs. You said spleen has a lot to do with that overthinking.
Yes.
The ruminating. What other organs represent other emotions in the body?
Yeah.
And how do we start getting in touch with like healing those organs and healing those emotions?
So we can start, in a 5-element chart where the top is the fire. It's our heart. It's our joy. It's our excitement. Then you move right to the earth element, which is our spleen, which is overthinking, worry. And then the next one is metal, fire, earth, metal, which is our lungs. And metal element is related to grief. So a lot of the times when someone is experiencing grief, that's where you get the shortness of breath. And almost the anxiety that's held in our chest.
That's right.
And then you go down to the kidney and the water, and that is fear. And it's interesting. I see a lot of kidney fear issues, and we say it's our zhi in Chinese medicine. And it's almost fear and anxiety of going about the world. And sometimes it's a fear of death. People are worried about their health. They're always worried about doing the next thing because they're like, oh, I'm so health conscious. A lot of that is tied to the kidneys.
The overthinking of fear, like the fear, anxiety for health.
Yeah. And so that's why the earth and the water element is so important as well, because we have, in the 5 elemental chart, you can have an element that overacts on another element, and the earth can overact on the water, on the kidneys.
Okay, so I have something for you. What is happening in the body of someone who is watching a ton of Instagram stories and going, oh my God, they're saying if I eat this, I'm going to die now, broccoli. Okay, I can't have broccoli. So now I'm just going to eat only red meat. Now, but they're saying only red meat is going to give me this. And the person who's in that health loop of like, everything is going to kill me. And then if I step into a house and there's this scent, this is going to kill me. What's happening in the organs of that person?
Of course. Again, we can tie it back to the elements. It's the earth element overacting on the water element, which is the kidneys. And so when I have a patient like that, you can actually see the physical signs of it. You have the spleen deficiency signs. So you have a lot of the fatigue, the overthinking, but also digestive issues. And you have the kidney signs, and kidney very much tied to the urination or urinary bladder, but also our reproduction. So in women, sometimes that overthinking, the worry can affect our fertility. And so it's so emotionally based. And that is one of the many roots of what we see, for example, for fertility, but that is one example.
When someone's listening, they go, okay, I want to get pregnant and my doctor's saying I'm having trouble and we keep trying and we might do IVF, but we don't know yet. From the Chinese medicine perspective, what are some pictures of infertility? Is it that overthinking, and is it other things internally? Is it food stuff? How do we draw that picture so people understand, wait a minute, that's kind of me and that's what I'm experiencing?
It's everything that you said above, from, what we eat to how we live our life, but also to how we process emotions. So for example, one root cause that we say for infertility is a kidney yang deficiency. We don't have enough heat in our body. As women, we can be very cold in our womb. And without the warmth, you can't house a baby, essentially. We need the warmth. We need to cuddle it and comfort it. But if we wear, if people are barefoot all the time, not wearing socks, protecting their feet, all of the channels that go up to the uterus are cold. It could be a cold diet, eating salads all the time, drinking smoothies and not nourishing it. It could also be related to other emotions. And another root cause is what we see, liver qi stagnation, which is very much stress, anger. And that can also overact on, so many other elements such as the spleen and our digestive function, but also when the liver is stagnant, our emotions are stagnant, we can't really process everything else. I mean, it's a whole circle with the 5 element chart. I wish I could just hold it up here, and everything affects one another.
Well, don't turn off the show, but Google it and take a little picture of the 5 element TCM chart. But you said something really interesting, because when we think of the womb, in medicine, there's no direct line connected from the womb to the liver. But when the meridian approach, there's lines that run, like you said, cold feet, no bare feet in the outside out, right? They run up to the womb. But when you said anger and stress, I remember this particular person that I was doing an emotional release on. They were suffering with infertility, and it was anger that was really deep and potent in the womb. It was expressed in the womb, but I know that it's housed really in the liver, but that direct connection is there. And I actually see a lot of women having a lot of rage in the womb, maybe for someone passing or crossing their boundaries years ago. But when you think about meridians, those lines that run up, everything is connected.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we have like the 3 main or important organs and meridians that are related to fertility are our spleen, our kidney, and our liver. And all those start in our feet. Hence why we need to keep our feet warm. I always suggest to women coming in for menstrual issues, irregular menstruation, or trying to get pregnant, I'm like, wear socks, just keeping your feet warm will transform you. And if you need that extra boost, I'm like, take a foot bath, just slice some ginger, put some in, because you need that extra warmth, and it feels nice.
I just thought about a ginger foot bath.
Yeah, ginger foot bath.
That sounds so nice right now. And it's the summer and it sounds so nice. Okay. So now I'm understanding more. Women who are trying to have babies.
Yes.
Think about warming up your feet, which are going to indirectly warm up the womb,
Correct.
or directly through the channels.
Yes.
And then what else can be done to warm up the womb? Staying away from cold foods. Is there movement? Is there anything to really activate and make a space for a baby?
Movement, again, everything related to our, sacral chakra. Everything here is so important. And there's a extraordinary channel in Chinese medicine called the Dai Mai, and it's basically our belt channel. It's very much our womb. There's also another one called the Chong Mai, and it's all connected to our womb, and everything ends here. And so making sure that the exercises are able to release this, right? So even back bends, everything that opens it up is really important.
And the emotional stress.
Of course.
So now we got the codes for the Chinese medicine codes. How to have a healthy baby, how to get pregnant. We got to do all these things first. Now, as we're heading into the warmer months, I've been thinking a lot about sleep quality. And let me tell you, always the best of the best for many years, top mattress, and it's been the top mattress, is Birch. Birch is not your average mattress company. They craft their mattresses with responsibly sourced materials like organic cotton, organic wool, and 100% latex. But here's the kicker. They're free of any of those polyurethane foams. That's the foams that are in a lot of those beds, especially if you like memory foams out there. Yeah, those are really nice or comfortable, but they're off-gassing. And what really sold me on Birch was their commitment to health and safety. Unlike some of those other brands out there, actually Birch mattresses doesn't contain any of those fiberglass materials that you breathe in for the life of the bed. And it's a big deal because fiberglass in itself is harmful to your health. It's a respiratory irritant. And instead they use organic wool, which in itself is a flame retardant. So I've been using the Birch Luxe mattress for a long time now, maybe it's 3 years. And I gotta say, I'm always impressed with it. I love how comfortable it is. My girlfriend loves it. She said it's her favorite bed. She loves sleeping on it. And that's the thing, when someone's moving around on the other side of the bed, you know how you wake up if you're a really sensitive sleeper. Like me, I don't wake up. It's a fantastic bed. It's got some weight to it, right? It's a heavy one, right? So, but it feels really good to get into bed. You make that little giggly sound when you're just cozying up, because it's such a comfortable bed. It keeps you cool. It's mold and mildew resistant. I wake up feeling refreshed and energized without those morning aches. They're gone. I feel good. And the one thing that really stood out for me is how I stay cool through the night. Birch uses thermoregulating wool to promote airflow, so you're not really heating up like a lot of these beds are because of their materials. I got some great news for you. Birch Labor Day early access sale is live right now. It's not Labor Day yet, but you can go, oh God, I don't even want to say Labor Day. Summer's almost over, but get on and get your bed. Get on, because it's a perfect time to upgrade your sleep. You can get 20% off of a Birch mattress plus 2 free EcoRest pillows. Remember, with Birch, you get a 100-night sleep trial and a 25-year warranty. If you're interested in trying out a Birch mattress for yourself, here's what to do. Go to birchliving.com/healthyself to find out more about this limited time offer. That is birchliving.com/heal-thyself. Now, are you ready to elevate your coffee game and experience a brew that is not only delicious, but also health focused? I'm gonna introduce you to one of my favorites. It's Purity Coffee. It's the ultimate choice for coffee lovers who prioritize both taste and well-being. Let's chat about what makes Purity Coffee stand out from the rest. Every step in the process is rooted in a health-focused principle. It's backed by solid scientific research and rigorous testing. They start by sourcing the finest specialty-grade organic Arabica beans, and they move on to small batch roasting, ensuring each cup meets the highest standards of quality. But what really sets Purity Coffee apart is their dedication to purity and safety. Their beans undergo third-party testing, and they ensure that it's free of all those pesticides, toxins, harmful mycotoxins, those pesky substances that wreak havoc on your health, that causes issues in your liver or your kidney or digestive issues, brain fog, fatigue. A lot of us drink coffee. A lot of us love coffee. And Purity Coffee has some of the highest antioxidant capacity that you're going to find out there. That's why you want to drink coffee. You want high quality antioxidant rich coffee. Most coffee is going to have that. Most coffee is not going to be pure as Purity. Now, it gives you a powerful dose of health boosting compounds with every single sip that you take. Now, it's not just about what's in the cup though. It's about how it's produced. Purity Coffee is grown on regenerative organic farms that prioritize soil health, animal welfare, and community well-being. It's got certifications from the USDA Organic, Rainforest Alliance, Smithsonian Bird Friendly. You can trust Purity Coffee is not only good for you, but of course good for the planet. We're connected to the planet. Why wouldn't we want to show up the best that we can? They have a range of roasts from their light medium roast with sweet fruity notes to their dark roast, which has rich, bold taste. And for those you looking for the caffeine without sacrificing the taste, the calm decaf medium roast is the answer. That one's the delicious one. A lot of my friends love it. And it's made from naturally decaffeinated Swiss water beans, and it's the best tasting organic decaf on the market. If you are ready to experience the pure pleasure of Purity Coffee, visit puritycoffee.com and use the code DRG for 30% off of your first purchase. That is PURITYCOFFEE.com and use the code DRG for 30% off. A woman who's trying to get pregnant or has menstrual issues, should they be using the cold tub?
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
Big time.
Big time, no. Yeah, I mean, again, warmth is our friend. Heat is the best thing in Chinese medicine. And a lot of the times with women, we are cold. We run on the cold side.
So the stagnation that the cold is eliciting in the body
Correct.
is causing stagnation in the womb, which is worsening all the symptoms.
Correct. And, you know, one specific symptom that you can see even with menstruation is cramping, right? So a lot of the times when someone's just like, I have horrible cramping, they get a heat pack. They put a heat pack on them and they feel better. I mean, that's one huge indication of we need warmth. And there's also a ton of Chinese herbs that are wonderful that you could take internally that warms the womb. And there's one formula that I give to my patients that is warming and also moving for the blood. So it warms the womb. It gets, the herbs are directed to our lower jiao or, you know, to the sacral area. It warms everything here and then moves all the blood to help with cramping and all of the pain that we feel.
I love that. I love that because we don't think about, can we keep our feet warm, our emotions under check, getting warming foods and warming up the womb, whether it's with herbs, to protect ourselves when we're sick. And like, there's a lot of doctors out there who don't even know to even say this to their patients. You know how many women in my life have had bad period pains and they never got instructed for that. Maybe a warm pack, they know that intuitively helps.
Exactly.
But like all the other stuff hasn't been part of the deal here.
No, I mean, it's funny. I grew up in Hong Kong in a very Asian household, but also, I mean, Hong Kong was so diverse and metropolitan and international. I was hearing all different sides of what is good for us from a medicine perspective. Like my closest neighborhood clinic was Western based, but then my parents would have all the intuition of how to have a healthy menstruation. But we don't learn how to have a healthy menstruation and what is normalized, right? It's normalized to have period cramps. It's normalized to feel fatigue and irritable and tired around our menstruation too. But all of those are indications that our body is off of balance. And there's ways we can fix it. And that's the best part about Chinese medicine is, you know, I see a patient come in, they're like, oh my gosh, my PMS symptoms are horrible. I'm irritable, I have mood swings, I'm crying, I have headaches. I'm like, okay, you know, to me as a practitioner, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You know, these are all symptoms of what makes sense is, let's say, a liver qi stagnation. I'm like, okay, I know what to give you. I know what helps you. And sometimes it's not as simplified and simplistic as that, but that's one example.
I love that. Okay, so we all have tongues, and tongues for you are a major tool to diagnostically to see what's happening. There's people listening right now. We might not be on video for them, but they got a tongue and they got a mirror. What are some things we can look for in our tongues to see how healthy we are?
Of course. So two main things about a tongue that I look at every, you know, whoever wants their tongue diagnosed, and every patient that comes in, it's the Chinese medicine diagnosis I do. I look at the tongue body and the tongue coating. Tongue coating is very indicative of what's happening inside of your body, especially our digestion. A perfect tongue is a thin white coat with a pink tongue. The body is pink. Do I see it often? No, because we're human. We eat things, we have emotional imbalances, and that's beautiful. You know, I love being a human to feel a spectrum of emotions, but it does affect how our internal environment is. And one big thing I see is a thicker white coating. So if you look in the mirror, stick your tongue out, and your coating is a little bit thicker and white, it means that there's dampness in you, that there's some type of dampness, stagnation in the belly. And it could be because of the smoothies. Like drink a smoothie, 30 minutes later, look at your tongue. Your tongue coating is going to get thicker.
Yeah.
It's pretty immediate. Another one I see is a scallop tongue or teeth marks. And it's very much associated with what we say is spleen qi deficiency. So people who overthink, people who are tired, who work a lot, they're going to have a scallop tongue. I have one. And I look at myself every morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I got to do things to boost my spleen before, you know, the other manifestations of spleen qi deficiency happen.
Oh, amazing. I have a a friend who does Chinese medicine, and she goes on Instagram and does celebrity tongues. And
Oh,
she'll
that's so
read,
fun.
yeah, yeah, you should do one. It'd be really cool. It'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, look at your tongue. Uh-oh, we know what's going on with you, you know?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
can read someone.
so it is the coating, and it is the just
The
the
tongue
integrity,
body.
the tongue body.
Yeah.
So if someone sticks their tongue out and it's scalloped and it has a white coat, what's that mean?
I would say spleen qi deficiency with damp. I would probably, understand that they might have like brain fog. They might feel fatigue. They might feel heavy. They might have digestive issues. They might feel bloated a lot of the time. And you can tell that with just that tongue.
I love what we learned a little bit about it in school, and I was like, no, and it was so funny. I saw like I looked around the class and people were like trying to look at their tongue from their laptop,
Yeah.
their black laptop,
Yeah.
to try to diagnose themselves. And there was this chart on the projector or
Yeah.
whatever it was, a computer. And I was like, oh shit, I wonder what my tongue looks like right now.
Yeah.
But we don't even notice that.
Mm-mm.
And I'm sure that some people's tongues can get really, really pathological, like
Oh, of course. Yeah.
like tough, you know?
Yeah.
So should we be tongue scraping every morning?
Personally, I don't think it's going to affect your health if you do. But as a Chinese medicine practitioner, I want to see your tongue coat. Sometimes they come in, I'm like, oh, you have no tongue coat. I'm like, did you tongue scrape? They're like, yeah, I did it. I'm like, okay. I was like, next time, can you not? Because I can't tell what your coating is.
Yeah, you want
But
to
I
know
can
the
see
truth.
the color of the body. And, another extreme is when the body's very red. The tip is red.
Yeah.
I see that a lot. And that means there's heart heat or heart fire. And that can exacerbate as a lot of insomnia issues, overthinking, but also like crazy dreams. So a lot of the times if you stick out your tongue and the tip is red, think about your dreams. If your dreams are fiery, volcano related, it happens.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So we have tongues from the spectrum of like gray pink
Yeah.
all the way to red.
Yeah. Even, on the extreme, like gray or black, and that's when you have a lot of concern.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I love the perspective on the tongues, and I want you all to check out your tongues. You could do it now, you could do it after.
Yeah.
But it would be really cool if people just start sending you their tongues online.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
start,
Oh my gosh, I
you
would
start
love to
doing some
see.
tongue diagnosis because it's like it's really cool. I'm always intrigued by WOAY. The concept of WOAY. My Chinese medicine doctor years ago, she said, Christian, you need a WOAY day. And I try to like put in WOAY days, but what is like the concept of WOAY, and how does it help our nervous system?
I mean, WOAY, I can always translate it as like a self-care day.
Self-care.
And how important it is for our health. I mean, what Chinese medicine is great at is finding balance, but switching your nervous system from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic state. And all the healing happens at a parasympathetic state when we can rest and digest. And so a Wu Wei day is going to shift our nervous system to the parasympathetic and allow us to heal emotionally, physically. And the more Wu Wei days we like put and actually set aside to say, hey, my Sunday is a Wu Wei day. I'm going to do what makes me happiest. I'm going to do what brings me most energy to increase my energy so that, for the rest of the week, if I'm working, I have that reservoir to use. And Wu Wei is different for everyone, You can write down a list of what makes you happiest, what gives you the most energy, and do it. If it's going to socialize with your friends, if you're an extrovert, if it is quieting down and meditating or journaling or doing mindfulness exercises, do what makes you happy. And that's a Wu Wei day.
Oh, Wu Wei day sounds so nice.
Yeah.
Me and my girlfriend go, okay, let's do a Wu Wei day.
Oh,
and
I
we
love
just
that.
Flow. And sometimes we'll find ourselves, we may just be at the farmer's market. How do we get here?
Yeah.
And then we're woo-weighing our way through the farmer's market and just like sitting down and relaxing and hanging out and people watching and just like present. It's a very present day. All my Mondays are on fire when I woo-weigh on a Sunday.
I love that. I mean, and you're going with the flow of things. You're going with what feels right at the moment.
Exactly.
You're kind of like moving with a wave, you're like, I feel like doing this now. Let me do it, and sometimes don't have any plans and just wake up and see where you are.
I call it the woo waves. We got to make sure that we're woo waving. Like we're woo waving. No, but for real, everyone, like, it's like we always have Saturday, finally we're off and we go and try to enjoy our lives that day. But then by Sunday, we're doing errands and we're food shopping and we're cleaning this and washing this.
It's overwhelming.
And it's like, I've been working 6 days. Like, we need a woo way day. So just if even half of a Sunday, just see how it feels in your body. You'll be better for the week for sure. I've worked in cancer for so long. I've been around cancer. I've seen a lot of cancer patients. That was my specialty when I came out. And I'm always intrigued. How does Chinese medicine approach something like cancer Why does cancer happen in Chinese medicine? And is it just is it a chronic imbalance of all of these things we've been talking about for the whole life, or is it something deeper? And how does one start going and approaching healing from cancer in the context of TCM?
It's interesting you mentioned that. I remember when I was in school, I had a supervisor who was amazing. And we would see a few patients and, and the supervisor would mention, oh, if we don't rebalance them, there's someone who is close to getting cancer. And I'm like, whoa, like how can you tell? What indicates that? And, obviously there's the physical signs we see from the tongue, the pulse, even feeling different parts of our body and the coldness and the heat. But the premise and the stem of it was the emotions. And she was just like, this person isn't feeling any of their emotions and they're not bringing to light what they're actually feeling. Yeah. I mean, again, it's hard. It's such a complex, intense issue. I don't want anyone to ever experience it, but it truly comes down to emotions and really processing them, letting them flow and not letting them stagnate.
We have to, we got to say that again, because we're not looking at, and I fully agree with you, because we're not looking at cancer in the context of emotions. When I was working in it, even from the integrative naturopathic side, it was a lot of diet, alcohol, smoking, movement, obesity, all things that we know play a role in it. But I think a major role is the emotional piece. We don't understand the downstream effect of repressed emotions on the nervous system, which affects the whole system, including the immunological system.
Yes.
And TCM I don't know about, but I know about energy and I know about emotions and I know a little bit about meridians, but I'm sure it's the same thing. And you're saying really that, and that's amazing that your doctor or that teacher could have sensed that, is, okay, whoa, like there's something that's happening. And we look at those people, are they able to express emotions? For people who don't have the ability or never taught, because I think we all can tap in, but never taught how to do it, it was never safe, are there often like some sort of telltale markers before the cancer? Is it like, okay, they're disrupted physically in their gut, or like you said, their limbs are cold, or they have a lot of dampness? Do you start seeing things like that person doesn't show emotion? How does that look physically?
It also depends what kind of emotion. So we can start from, let's say, anger, frustration. It's our liver organ and our liver channel. And I mean, in Western medicine, liver is very much the center of detoxification. And so is in Chinese medicine. And sometimes, when a patient comes in, they're a little bit older, you start to see brown spots on their skin, kind of patchy all over, and you go to a dermatologist, they're like, oh, that could just be some melanization issue. Yeah, liver spots, exactly. And so I'm like, okay, this person has been holding on to so much anger for so long, so much frustration. They're not expressing it, whether it comes from childhood or whether it comes from relationships they're in right now, or even just expressing who they are and what makes them happiest. They haven't found that. Yeah.
And that it can express on the skin, something like liver spots, as you see. So that's indicative of like, hey, look, this liver has been struggling for a while. There's been a lot of anger energy there. For someone who is suffering with like fear in the kidneys, they've always lived a life that is super scared and like they're afraid to do X, Y, and Z or say X, Y, and Z. How do they look physically or manifest physically? Is their heart always beating? Are they thin and wiry? Do they have like thyroid issues? What happens?
Yeah, could be all the above because everything's connected. But kidney symptoms in general, someone might not be able to hold the urination and they have to go to the bathroom all the time. They wake up to go to the bathroom all the time. Could also be, low back pain, knee pain. It could be anything in the kidney channel, running from our toes all the way up into our abdomen, into our chest as well. It could be adrenal function, cortisol imbalance, palpitations, like you said, because the kidney and the heart have such an important relationship. And any palpitation sign, I'm just like, okay, it's something to do with the heart organ and the heart channel. So let's figure that out. Yeah.
So, I mean, we think about fear, like I think of like when a little kid is scared, he or she pees their pants, right?
There it is.
The same thing, always moving that urination. It's like that fear taking over. And what about sadness? Someone who's holding in a ton of sadness, never expressed that sadness. Now, mind you, all of these repressed emotions can lead to cancer. at least from the way that I look at from the neurological
Yes,
system.
absolutely.
But we're trying to look for telltale signs of what's happening. So what if someone's holding in sadness? They had a dad that says you can't cry, or a mom that says you can't cry, or you're tough. How does that usually look?
So sadness is associated with the lungs, sadness and grief, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a family member passing away, but as you said, it could be something that's built up inside, that they're sad because of not able to express who they are. Asthma is what we see, shortness of breath, anything lung related. It could be even like lung phlegm, spitting out things all the time. And it's the metal element.
Okay, so metal element means it's just that's representative of earth, metal element, but what's like the character of metal?
Character of metal. I mean, lung issues, right?
Lung issues. So
Yeah.
so I guess what I'm saying is, what does the elements of earth, how does that bridge into the emotions?
So, I mean, in a 5 element chart, earth comes before metal. And so when we have earth imbalances, everything to do with digestion, it also affects
Oh, there's an
metal.
order. The order it's
Yeah.
followed. I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. So earth becomes before metal, and then metal comes.
Yeah. So it goes fire, earth, metal, water, wood.
Oh, okay. So downstream is wood.
Yes. Downstream is wood, but also there's, and it keeps going. So one big thing I always see is wood overacting on earth, liver overacting on spleen, anger and stress overacting on digestion.
Oh, that
which
makes
is also
sense.
IBS, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, 2,000 years ago, y'all had it figured out already.
It's crazy. I mean, I think about it. And I mean, it's a medicine that is, 3,000 to 5,000 years old and based
Even
on,
more.
yeah, more. And just like an experiential based medicine where they figured it out. They have an unlimited amount of people and population and they figured out what worked.
It's incredible. And it's incredible that like evidence-based medicine will be like, well, we only want to do insurance for these type of things, but like not knowing that it's been around so long.
Yeah.
You had so much figured out,
Yeah.
and I wish that there was a better bridge
Of
where
course.
Western here we can go, okay, yeah, let's integrate it all. I wish every
Yeah.
hospital was integrated.
Oh my gosh, that is my dream. It's funny because after COVID, my mom texted me, my parents are still in Hong Kong. She was like, hey, they just opened the first Chinese medicine hospital in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong's a Chinese city. I'm like, whoa. I mean, there's Chinese hospitals all over China, all over Taiwan,
Yeah.
but first specific Chinese TCM hospital in Hong Kong.
That's the most surprising thing I've heard.
Yeah.
They didn't have one there?
I mean, it's a lot of small clinics, right?
There's centric hospital,
Yeah,
big hospital, funded hospital. Oh, okay,
yeah.
I got you. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
When I was working in the Integrative Cancer Center, we had acupuncture, we had nutrition,
that,
we had
yes.
naturopathic,
Yeah.
they had chiropractic, they had everything.
Yeah.
So patients were going through it all.
Yeah.
And the outcomes were so much better for cancer patients.
Mm-hmm.
Going through, I'm talking about just symptomatically going through cancer treatment and long-term survival. They were just doing better. It was crazy. People who had surgeries came out faster. I would go into the inpatient room and the acupuncturist would just be finishing up, and then I'd be talking to them and I'd be like, oh, okay, it sounds like they need this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Let's get them on this regimen. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I love that. I mean, it's so important.
What's happening? We're still in this like
Yeah.
depressing hospital rooms giving these medications, and people are not doing as well as we know that they can do.
Yeah.
I guess to close it out, I want to really think about what are some ways right now, some just top tips right now from TCM that we can start integrating easily into our lives where we're going to notice a difference.
I mean, the first one is start eating more warm and cooked foods. Even try it for 1 week. Cut out cold water and smoothies and salads for a week. Cook all your foods, drink room temperature warm water. I promise you, you're going to feel drastically different. Your energy is going to feel different. Your brain fog's going to reduce. Your digestive symptoms will reduce. It's amazing, and it happens quickly.
Okay, that's number one. But I will ask you this.
Yeah.
What about like you're saying cold food, but what if like there's a little protein bar that you got to eat on the go? Is that cold food or is that just room temperature food?
I mean, temperature wise, it's room temperature. I think it's okay. I mean, it's all about balance, right?
That was a question for myself.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, if you want to grab it for nutrients, if you want to eat, I'd rather someone eat than not eat as well.
But you're saying specifically like cold, raw
foods. Yeah.
Raw foods.
Imagine things that you get off the shelf in a grocery store that is from the fridge aisle. You keep
From
in
the
your
fridge
fridge,
aisle.
you take
Okay.
it out. Yeah,
Okay.
anything from the freezer, you take it out.
It's funny.
You
I got,
know,
I got the
yeah.
pass for the protein bars. That was a little question for me over here on the corner. Okay. So start eating more warmed cooked foods
Yeah,
for a week. Just
yeah,
try it. Everyone, try
yeah.
it
Just
out.
try it out.
Try it out for a
Yeah,
week. What else? How about feet? Feet.
yeah. I
Cold,
mean, for
put some
women,
socks on.
socks all the time,
Women's
especially during
socks.
menstruation. Before, during, and after, wear socks. A lot of patients will come back and be like, yeah, my cramping was so much better. Obviously, with a lot of other herbs and acupuncture, but that's one thing that I always suggest.
I gotta tell this to my hippie girlfriend because she's always running around
Yeah,
barefoot everywhere.
yeah.
Okay, we're
Though
gonna do
grounding
that.
is amazing, it's a whole nother thing that I love too. But
Uh,
if you're indoor, walking on concrete, on
Yeah,
tiles, wear socks or
concrete tiles.
slippers. Something to protect your feet from the ground.
Okay, that's two. Anyone else? Anything else, or is that?
Yeah, feel your emotions.
Oh yeah,
Find some type of mindfulness exercise, whether it's meditating, journaling, breath work, to process it. We want to process our emotions. If you feel anxious, sit with it, understand how it manifests in your body, and just breathe through it, let it pass. Maybe write it down, do what you need to do to just kind of let it
I
pass.
love that. That's so powerful. Before we close out, I told you off air I'm turning 40. You said no, you're not. I
No,
said
you're
yes, I
not
am.
40.
But now I was so intrigued by facial acupuncture,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard about it a few years ago. I go, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it one day, maybe when I'm near 40. Oh
Yeah.
shit! Now I'm near 40, so I want to
Yeah.
come get it done. Does it work?
Yes.
Facial acupuncture works.
Yes.
This is a non-tox Botox
Yeah.
with no Botox.
Essentially. Yes.
How does sticking needles in my face make me
Yeah.
look younger?
So it's interesting because when we put needles in your face, we're essentially causing microtrauma to the tissues underlying, to the skin, to the dermis. And when we cause this microtrauma, collagen is going to be naturally produced. Our body has a reaction to it. They're like, oh, there's microtrauma. I need to send more collagen there. I need to build more collagen. Hence why you get the glow, you get more plump. Why we also target fine lines and wrinkles, and why we put needles on the fine lines and wrinkles, because it kind of fills it up with the collagen. That's one part of facial acupuncture that's amazing. I mean, another one is also activating muscles, right? Which is the opposite of Botox. Botox freezes the muscle. It's a neurotoxin. But when you activate the muscle, maybe like muscles up here, we're activating it so it creates a lift as well. But overall, yes, we focus on the face, but we have so many amazing meridians that run through the face. So yes, it's also helping your body holistically. Our stomach channels run through here, our large intestine. Yeah.
So I'm going to come for a few sessions with you. What can I expect? More plumpness?
Yeah. So, after, the first session, a lot of people naturally realize that they're glowy, more plumpness, but it takes time. Our body takes time to recalibrate to a new balance and to like new homeostasis level where more collagen is being naturally produced in certain parts of your face. So it takes repetition.
So you said like once a week for 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, 8 to 10 weeks. And then just like seasonal touch-ups. And usually it lasts like 4 to 5 years.
Get out of here. 4 to 5 years and I'm going to be, I'm going to look like a movie star, Hollywood movie star.
You already do, but
now you know I'm coming. I love that. Okay, so because a lot of people have asked me about that and if it's real and if it works. And I always hear that it works, but I just wanted to like hear it from somebody who does it.
Yeah. And you just got to put in the time and you got to be patient. That's the thing.
Patient.
We're so used to quick fixes. You go to get Botox once, you feel the immediate results. But it just takes time, but it's all natural. We're not putting anything in your face. We're not killing nerves or muscles or
And here's the most beautiful part. I mean, like, look, we live in LA. We know what it looks like for people who undergo Botox or even cosmetic surgery. There's, even if it's the best doctor, there's something in the human mind that recognizes faces since childhood, since we were born.
Oh my gosh.
And we even know when there's micro deviations.
Yeah.
Micro, like even the best ones.
Yeah.
Like something ain't right here. Something ain't right. And it kind of throws me off, with my energy off when I feel that in people. I'm like, wait a minute, something's a little off.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing is with acupuncture, like you said, it's just using nature's intelligence to get it going. So we're not going to have that off feeling when people look at us. And damn well my eyebrows aren't going to be all the way up to my forehead and my skin all the way back.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay. Where can we find more information about you?
I post a lot of Chinese medicine content on my Instagram, Felisa
Amazing.
Acupuncture. It's interesting. I started it to share the beauty of Chinese medicine, to understand or to help people understand that there's this other realm of alternative medicine here in the Western world. That's where you can find a lot of informational videos, on my website. FeliceAcupuncture.com. That's where you can find and book a session with me if you're ever inclined. But if you ever want to reach out, you can just DM me. Reach out. Yeah.
I love it. And
Yeah.
you're someone who's very passionate about their work.
Yes.
Passionate about, and part of me wishes I took a few years and studied traditional Chinese medicine.
Too late.
I know it's not too late. We had an acupuncture program in my school, and I was like, yeah, I should do that. But then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be in school any longer than I needed to be.
It's a long time.
Yeah. And people did the co together.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am not going through 2 programs.
Yeah.
But I have such a respect for it. And it came when I really learned about emotions. And then I started seeing how Chinese medicine talked about emotions. And just clinically, what I found in my work was pretty much the same exact thing. I thought I was making breakthroughs. And then I looked at Chinese medicine. And I was like, damn, man, you figured this out years ago, many years ago. So deep respect for Chinese medicine. It works. It is really something that we need to integrate much more. And if you are still suffering physically or mentally out there, there's another form of medicine that I would highly recommend to look out for. And we have a fantastic practitioner here on the show. And what was the website again?
Just FeliceAcupuncture.com.
So easy.
Yeah.
So easy. Get on it. Check it out. If you're out here in Culver City in LA, go check her out. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're so welcome.
All right.
Thank you for having me.